Welcome. Welcome to Keepin It Simple with Complexity. My name is Nick. I go by Ashes. This is my lovely co-host, Mr. Sören Fantasy Clark. I don't know his last name or how to pronounce it, so I called him Clark.
I just got rid of my glasses.
Yeah.
It works.
It looks great.
Ooh, the Clark Kent, Clark Kent thing.
Yeah, you got there.
Kent Clark.
It's a process.
Yeah.
And our amazing guest, the one and only, the hot pot CEO, the hot dog man, Mr. Monsoon.
He doesn't get a first name.
No, it's just Monsoon.
Just hot pot CEO.
Yeah.
And hot dog man.
See, we had talked about doing this thing where, like, I pull out my phone. Where is my phone? Oh, yeah. Rita stole my phone, our producer, Rita. Where I pulled out my phone and I look at the weather app and I go, that's weird. It wasn't calling for a monsoon today.
Oh, my God. I'm so glad you didn't do that.
I was about to say, I'm so glad that didn't make the cut.
I mean,
Like in all the rundown meetings, I'm so glad we got rid of that idea.
I just don't know what I'd do if, like, you unironically did that with your phone, you know?
You're also setting your bar very high. You just have to invite players with weather-related puns.
Yes.
And we don't have that many players.
Okay, no, screw the script. How many players actually have weather pun names?
We're going to get into, like, team building and recruiting later on, and that's going to be, like...
Rain, the women's
and the Counter-Strike player.
Valorant CS player.
Counter-Strike player.
Is there
FaZe, Rain.
Okay, FaZe Rain.
Yep.
Cloud. League of Legends player, I think.
I don't remember. I know balls.
Balls?
Balls.
There has to be a lightning somewhere in the history.
You would think.
In the history
like
of
Tempest.
esports. No,
Like
just
typhoon.
No, just lightning.
That's so lame.
Lightning?
It's like, I guess you can call yourself a light, but like lightning.
Ooh, light would go hard.
Yeah.
I think Korean League of Legends players and Korean and Chinese League of Legends players have the best gaming aliases.
Yep.
Think about Crown, Faker.
Yeah.
Isn't that the thing that where they like have like a I heard this, I think it was in Dota, where it's like either they have, or in Han they had like number codes because they didn't have like an English name, so they just either went by number codes or like super basic English nouns.
Totally.
And that's like kind of translate, and that's what like you were basically referring to. Like
Yeah.
they have just the one word that like stands out.
Yeah. They got badass names.
They really
That's pretty
do.
cool.
It's great branding.
I think I remember back in like 2008, 2009, whenever Xbox would do like the cleanse of all the unused gamer tags.
Yeah.
Because like you couldn't have duplicate gamer tags, and so they would do this big cleanse of all the like inactive accounts, kind of like how Twitter does.
Sure.
And they would like the Dragon Ball Z ones. Everyone was fiending
Like
to get
Goku.
like Goku,
Yeah.
Vegeta, because it would always like get claimed, and then they would try to sell it.
That makes sense.
So like if you could get one of those OG Dragon Ball Z gamer tags back in the day, you could sell it for Microsoft points.
Dude, they did that to us Apex pros. Before we'd announced we were signed, we wouldn't change our name, and you could only have one name on Origin. So they actually stole FlyQ Monsoon and tried to sell it back to me. It's funny. They've done that to a lot of people too.
There is some dickhead out there playing games as Optic Ashes. There is some asshole out there playing games as Complexity or Coal Ashes.
Oh my God.
I cannot get my gamer tag.
Don't tell them it's me. I'm just Cole Ashes the entire time.
Wouldn't surprise me.
It's just Ash's wife just stealing all of them.
Fuck that
No,
guy.
she makes her name on everything Ash's Grill. Like, cause
That's funny.
Like Twitch.
That's
like,
actually
it's a grill.
That's
yeah.
cute.
She has an emote in my chat from when we used to stream. Yeah, it's like a little charcoal grill, like a little Weber grill with a big bow.
Oh my God. Yeah. Perfect. I think I'm sub to you.
Would you?
Yeah, I think I am.
Are you? No,
I think
you're
so.
not.
I should be.
We're already lying on the
I'm
podcast.
not.
That's
Sorry.
crazy. Rita was subbed to me for a while.
Really?
Yeah, she came in and dropped like 3 gifted one night.
Damn.
Yeah,
I watched you before you were signed here. I watched
Did you?
like do PGA streams, I think.
that's scary.
PGA streams?
Oh,
I
yeah.
wanted to get a vibe for the person that I wanted to
Fucking
hire.
golf?
And
Yeah.
somehow you still made the cut.
Well, I was playing PGA. If you would have called me on any other game,
It's true.
it would have been slow for my job. But
That is true. We had
PGA is hard to rage.
we had a player once that I wanted to sign, and I went into their first stream, and it was just like the weirdest thing in the world. It was it was just like their troll night basically. So they let chat pick the music.
Oh no.
And it was just an outrageous. And I lasted 5 minutes or so, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna come back tomorrow and see if this is the normal thing, or
It's just
if
not for you.
if this person is just not gonna be signed here.
Oh, for sure.
I don't think many players think about how that kind of stuff could potentially affect them. Like, for you as a player, have you ever thought about like, oh, maybe I mean, obviously there's some things that like you don't say no matter what, but like, are there ever times where you're thinking like, maybe I should watch what I say, or like you want to react in a certain way?
Okay,
Have you seen his Twitter?
There's this one.
That's why I'm asking.
Okay, listen.
Twitter's wild.
There's this one time, right when I got signed to Complexity. Okay, that's when like Josh was in my chat a lot, watching my stream. I ran into a cheater. Or some dude who was saying like slurs on my team, and I was like, you fucking loser, like, God, you're such a piece of shit, like, God, you're such a pussy, you suck at the game and you're a piece of shit. And then I go back to my clips later and I saw Josh clipped it, and I was like, oh God. And I messaged him, I'm like, I'm so sorry if this wasn't professional, like, let me know, like, this is me, but also I'll try to like figure it out. And he's like, nah, I thought that shit was hilarious. And I was like, oh, okay, we're good. But I almost died. I was so scared. I was like, no way, dude. I was like, I kind of felt like that could be a reason to not pick someone up, you know? But we're here.
Yeah, you made it.
Fuck that guy. That guy's an asshole. So,
no, I think like, especially with one of the first assignments that I got given by Sören was we were looking at, I don't remember who it was, but you have to obviously do checks, like almost like background checks on social media accounts, just to make sure they're not like, I don't know, tweeting crazy stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
Sure.
And so Sören and Kyle sent me this list of like the no words that I had to like search. But the problem is, like, to do those searches on Twitter, you have to like type in the person's name on the search bar, but you can't click their profile. You have to click advanced search. And then it brings up this whole menu of options where you can say, okay, I want to see if this profile has ever tweeted any of these words.
Sure.
And so I am sitting there typing all of the slurs.
Oh my God.
And bad words that should not be on Twitter.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nobody should be looking over my shoulder right now,
no,
because they're going to think I'm the worst
don't feel good
person
doing it. How can you?
No, it feels horrible, but it's like, also, God forbid one of those words shows up in somebody's,
Bro, that's an instant no, right?
pretty much.
Oh, yeah.
For the most part,
it depends
right?
on context.
Yeah.
Like,
There are words that there's no context that makes it better.
well, yeah, obviously. Like, but like, I know for a while I was including the F word until I realized
I've never done that.
You know, he says fuck all the time.
Oh,
Yeah,
fuck,
exactly.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
No, not that one.
Not the other
Okay.
F word.
For sure.
That one's pretty much a no
An
go.
Instant no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
absolutely.
no. Yeah.
Anyways,
Bad words, man. They're bad.
yeah, they are. I've always been curious though, because like when I was looking for orgs to join, like as a coach and like having a team, you know, I would tell them don't tweet super bad things,
Sure.
or don't say super bad things on stream. But you know, like we were in gears, man. Nobody. It's a little bit wild, and it was 2010, 2015. So it was like still a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, you can't deny that the gaming culture was totally immature and self-centered.
Still is.
And 100% it is. So, fuck that. That's why we're moving forward. You know, it's kind of cool to see the standards and the accountability kind of rise.
Oh yeah, I think a lot of
esports.
things changed, especially during COVID, because I feel like that's when a lot of like the Me Too stuff happened, and I think all of that exposure to like the dark side of gaming and a lot of industries, honestly. I know the music industry got hit really hard.
Yeah, it did.
But I think that is like what helped elevate
that. Yeah, totally, 100%.
Yeah, that whole side of people.
Yeah, which is good. I mean, it's just bringing it to the light, right? Like, people can't keep getting away with bullshit like that. Plain and simple.
Facts.
Now nobody's putting up with it.
Facts.
Like, people have gone through so much of that shit already.
Yeah. It's time it gets elevated. And it makes gaming, I think, a better and safer place, you know, overall for everybody.
100%.
So.
Because that's all. We just want to be happy and safe.
Yeah, we just want to play video games, man.
Exactly.
Just fucking let me vibe, bro.
That's it, dude. That's it. So.
So glad you're here with us.
Thanks for having me, dude. Fucking first one on. Appreciate
the
it.
inaugural guest.
The
Such an
inaugural
honor.
guest.
Yeah.
It is such an honor. Next to two handsome men, of course.
Just imagine if this gets a second episode, it's going to be even better.
Oh,
yeah,
gosh.
you're like the pilot episode.
Am I gonna be on multiple episodes?
If you want,
Maybe.
Dude, I'd be down.
we could just have you like as like a Easter egg.
Like the
you
ad-lib?
walk through the back. Yeah, you can be my ad
You're
lib.
going to be in every
He's
episode
just got a
walking
microphone.
through.
Be like,
Yeah.
so welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, good one, Ashes. For sure. I mean, I'd do that.
Just be the
100%.
character on like all the radio shows that sits in the control room and just chimes in with like useless stats.
Yeah, I just have a soundboard.
Yeah,
back
exactly.
there.
Like that guy.
You can be our Jamie if you want,
Dude,
like from Joe Rogan.
thank you so much.
Yeah, if you
I'll
want.
take it. Is it paid?
No.
Oh, great.
This is esports, baby. Nothing is paid.
This is esports.
We'll get to that in a
For
minute.
sure. Yeah.
But first, I want to talk about this podcast sponsor. Absolutely nobody. And if you'd like to sponsor this podcast, please feel free to contact us. More on that later.
That's right.
Our
We are
producer just
available.
lost their shit.
We're ready. They're ready. I'm kind of ready.
You're kind of ready?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know who was ready?
Who?
You're going to love this segue.
Oh,
Our
God.
Rocket League team.
Oh, they were ready.
They were ready.
Yes.
They brought heat in San Diego.
It's a
They
tough
did.
transition.
It was not a tough
They were
transition.
spanking people.
They were.
They were.
Yeah, and then
He
they
was there
also
in person.
played well.
You were there in person. Yeah, and they did play well, 100%. Which is great. How was that?
What happens in the hotel at an esports event stays in the hotel at an esports
Yeah.
event, Sören.
Someone did a podcast in a bed once. I just want to bring this up.
Wait, what?
Didn't you do that?
Record a podcast on
Yeah.
a bed in a
On a
hotel
bed?
room? Absolutely, I did.
Yeah.
I got a bed.
You want to record a podcast?
I mean, we could.
I don't know what
Second-
episode we're on for the Ashcast, but no, it was great. It was like we had the room with two beds side by side, like two
Yeah,
queens
yeah.
or whatever.
It's that personal hotel room.
And I just
shot.
had a camera set up on top of the TV pointing at us.
Were you
and
like tucked in?
we
or
no,
were
we
you
weren't
sitting
tucked
there?
in. We were like lounged out on the bed.
I see. Yeah.
Didn't want to make it like too cozy because like then you would have just fallen asleep. But that was one of the most fun podcasts, before this one. Obviously,
Is it online somewhere?
It is.
Oh my god.
YouTube.com/thyashes.
Ashes.
Shameless self plug.
Oh my god. Is
Yeah.
it shameless? You don't seem. Yeah, it is.
Exactly,
Yeah,
shameless.
yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
Sorry.
Twitter.com/thyashes, Instagram.com/thyashes,
There we go.
TikTok.com/thyashes,
Might hit 200 followers.
Twitch.com/thyashes. Go fuck yourself, Monsoon.
This podcast really just exists for Ash's ego.
It is.
I'm with it.
It is.
Yeah.
We were going to call it the 22 time cast.
Oh
But-
my.
No.
We didn't want to have to change the branding every time I win. So,
That makes sense.
yeah, it's
That
just
makes sense.
logistics.
I mean, the number goes up. It just makes sense.
Yeah. No, never mind.
All the
Um,
22 pup
So
names you ever
Rocket
won.
League, speaking of winning,
Yes, yes, yes.
they didn't, but they were putting up a fight.
Yeah. I mean, it was a fun event overall. I think. You've been to DreamHacks?
I've only been to one out here,
Yeah.
but I have been to San Diego once.
San
Oh,
Diego-
that was I drove you to the DreamHack Dallas. That was the day after my LASIK surgery.
Yes.
Yeah.
We partied.
We did party.
Yep. It was very fun. If you weren't there, you should feel bad.
I wasn't there, so
Yeah.
thanks.
No,
Thanks for pointing that out.
just kidding.
Wait, can we just talk about how you and I both got LASIK right before a DreamHack?
We could, but that's going to be a very short conversation.
We both got LASIK right before a DreamHack. All right, anyway.
I was about to say,
No,
it's
that-
not
that's-
really,
that's
there's not really
sick, though.
driving
That's
anything
sick,
there.
though. And you guys are feeling great. You guys can see shit, right?
Yeah.
It's both like we went to like you obviously live here in Dallas. I went to an even sunnier city with a lot of light sensitivity, and my recovery from LASIK was staring at a very blurred screen with like lights from everywhere in an event. I feel like that was maybe not the best recovery.
Sure. But
overall,
you're feeling okay
like,
now.
all things considered. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm very glad I get to see you 3 times. I like picked the middle one.
Really?
It's fun. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like right now? 3?
No,
Okay.
I'm good. Thank you. Though.
Yeah.
No, but like I think like they're like varying degrees of like. I'm just gonna talk about the event because we all know our team owns, and that's just a given.
Shout out CRR, El Toro, and AJG,
That was
and Agusum.
what? Oh, El Toro. I
Yeah.
thought you said.
What'd you think I
I
said?
thought you said AJG's actual first name and then also shouted out AJG, which isn't in line for you because you did a shout out tweet and just forgot one of our players.
Okay. Oh my god. Did you really?
Yeah.
It's okay.
You just completely forgot about AJG, so I thought he's gonna make up for it.
And rather than letting it slide, he calls me out on Twitter and at AJG.
Absolutely.
All right, man.
Beautiful. Good work. I like that.
Got to pounce on the mistakes.
I put the ass in assistant GM.
You got an ass for sure.
Okay. Anyways,
so I think like I've been to, this was my third Rocket League event. I think one as a spectator, twice as a manager, and there's a definite difference between them having like hosting their standalone events and filling the entire arena, and them being at a DreamHack where they have like a smaller area
like a third.
where it's just like rafters and like stands and all that kind of stuff. It felt good because the crowd was really into it. I think we got a little bit unlucky with the draw of when our matches were, because we played 2 games off stage, the first games. We won both. So the second day, we got pushed to the earliest time slot because our game didn't matter anymore.
Sure.
For no one. Not for our opponents, not for us. We were number 1 seed in the group.
Already good.
They were out already.
Yeah.
So it was like basically the warm-up game, and not a whole lot of people like rushed. And like a Thursday at 10 a.m., there wasn't that many people. So the crowd reaction for that, I think, was a little bit tempered. And then we got to skip the entire Saturday because we were too good.
Yeah, that format was weird to me. Like, imagine going to a LAN event and just one day you don't play at all.
Yeah.
That's odd.
Yeah.
And then on the Sunday, because we skipped the entire Saturday, we again had the first game of the day. So once again, we were kind of the opener. Once again, the crowds wasn't completely filled.
Sure.
And then obviously our match against FaZe kind of just blew everything out of the water. It was super loud there. It's probably like the third loudest the event has been was the entire time, because the one crew I think they got a bigger pop than FaZe or us was Carmine Corp, who had their own like little section.
Yeah.
I don't know if the camera captured it, but they were loud.
I think the camera got them.
But yeah, was a great event. Boys showed up. First time they actually got the full preparation for a LAN event or for a cycle or split or whatever it's called these days. We're gonna, I think, see them back in action. I don't know when we're actually releasing this. I'm just gonna try to date this.
As of recording this, it's the 19th of April.
Yeah,
and they play this weekend. Right?
Yeah, I think they play the Steel Series tournament this weekend, and next weekend I think they play a tournament, and then the weekend after that is the spring split.
Rocket League's popping.
Dope.
Yeah,
that's sick. See, as a pro player though, I'm always wondering like how the venue was, like how were the setups, how were the tables, how was the production quality, how was the temperature, how was all that? Did you get a glimpse? Were they happy with the whole setup, or was it like DreamHack?
Well, that's another thing, right? Because if you're a part of if you're having everything rented out for you, and I don't know how it is for an Apex tournament or something, but I've been to a lot of Dota tournaments, Counter-Strike tournaments. When they rent out the entire arena, they have everything at their disposal.
Totally.
So every like dressing room, changing room of a big arena or something is going to be turned into a private player room or a practice room and all that kind of stuff. But once you're sharing the space of like a convention center and you only have 3/4 of the convention center,
of course,
you have to make do with the space that you have. You're not the only one. There's vendors there. There's other tournaments there. Like the Magic tournament was bigger than the Rocket League tournament. They had their own little section.
This was a major, right? This was the winter major.
This was the winter major. Yeah.
Interesting.
They went the standalone route for the fall major, and then they brought this in, and I think they go standalone for the spring major as well. So this was like the one thing like kind of shoehorned into.
Yeah, and I guess you could say just standalone over the shared space kind of thing.
I think I always prefer standalone.
Yeah.
Because you get the full on experience. You have psionics who are doing a great job with with all their events. Like every event that I've ever been, you feel like you're kind of immersed in like that Rocket League fandom. They have like their art stands, they have their merch stuff. They have a lot of activations that are geared towards either Rocket League or cars. They have the signing sessions with a lot of creators. Like they bring their entire community together for like world championships, for majors, and all that kind of stuff. So that was the one thing where it felt off a little bit. And but you know, obviously it makes sense to package your tournament with an already existing big tournament where they are already having the big space.
You probably save so much.
But overall, like I don't think that, outside of, I think CRR was very vocal about this, the practice rooms were like just draped off, stanchioned off, kind of.
I see.
Like the moment someone talked in the section next to you, you could hear it very clearly. So that was the only downside of it. And again, like that's what you kind of have to take into consideration once you're at an event where you are not the only one renting that arena.
Totally.
And again, like the Magic tournament at that event had their own, like 1/3 of the their own little area.
I think that happens a lot though, because even HCS Anaheim, which was, of course, ironically supposed to be a DreamHack, and then because of COVID policies wasn't. When we were there, the practice area for all the teams was just roped or like curtained off small practice rooms. So it was the same thing. Like,
it's
there's
very
a curtain
common
between you and another team.
It is very common for like events that are part of another event.
Totally.
But the rest of the event got canceled. So and there was a lot of empty space. I think it was just, you know, you can't really divide up into rooms in a big convention center. Hall,
I've been to, we've obviously been to a lot of those, and it's always like that. I've never seen it at like standalone events, because once you have standalone events, usually you have, in most games these days, you have the group stage in the hotel room or something, so you have your own private hotel room gaming place where the organizer just rents out basically the entire hotel,
just all of it.
And then you get ferried over, so they either avoid that or they have like your own little practice room in the event. So
we went to a E-League event. It was like a launch invitational for Gears 5, and because it was at is E-League TBS or was E-League TBS? I think because it was at like the TBS studios.
Oh, interesting.
They have this whole massive building, and then just one section of it is E-League, but because of that, they have a whole bunch of rooms. And so I think it was 8 teams that were invited. Everyone had their own practice room with all of the setups in it, so that you could, you know, play, and it was actual rooms.
That's dope.
The only problem was the AC was not great, so it was hot as.
Where was it? It's Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
How does Apex do it? Because Apex has obviously like you go to a Rocket League event, you only have to worry about 16 teams, but you go to a BR event and they're like teams from all over it's like 80 teams or something.
It's 60 teams total. Yeah.
Or at an event? I thought it was 30.
It's 40. It might be 40.
Is it 40?
30 for Pro League, 40 for LAN.
Gotcha.
And
what was
it gets
it
11 spots.
In the Poland one, which I think is like,
Poland was like 120.
Because that's what I remember. Because that was massive.
That was insane. And of course, I don't think there's been a single time at an Apex LAN event that like Apex has had like playrooms for people to practice. You get no practice basically. You gotta set up the boot camp yourself. But in Poland, the only place that we could practice was this little PC cafe that had like 960s in it with like no desk space, and I couldn't bring my own stuff. So a lot of the time for Apex, you're just going in dry, which I mean is good, but you know, I definitely prefer if we had our own spaces, but it is what it is. I also haven't been to a LAN in forever. Hopefully London.
I wasn't going to bring it up.
Oh my God. Dude, no, I'll bring it up, man. It sucks. It fucking blows. Barely not qualifying for like the last 4 events. But I mean, we're looking pretty good, and Copperbox is already dope.
It is, yeah. Copperbox was just as like the last anecdote before you.
By all means,
before we go back to your rundown
of
this massive tangent that we went on. Copperbox was the first event, like the first Rocket League event I've been to, and I think to this day it is It's definitely in the top 5 of events that I've ever been to. It might be the best esports event I've ever been to.
Dope.
What is Copperbox?
It is the it was built for the Olympics. It was the I think they played tennis in there and basketball. So it's like it's a little bit smaller than Fort Center. From a capacity standpoint, I think it fits like 3,000, 4,000 people.
Yeah, it's pretty small. If
And
that,
it's,
it might
and
be
it's
even
like in the
less.
heart of like the Olympic Park.
Yeah. In East
And
London.
it's
yeah.
literally just, it's called Copper Box because it's literally a box that is like the walls are copper.
Mhm.
It's like literally just, it's not an architectural wonder or something. It's
Yeah.
like literally just a box.
You'll see it and you'll be like, oh, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah, and all the seats are all like different colors, like pull down seats, kind of like
Yeah.
Gotcha.
an actual
And
stadium.
it's in London, you said?
Mhm. Yep. We'll be going.
I mean, probably him.
You'll be going.
I know that place. I've been there. Like, that's the funny thing because every London event I've ever been to has been in the park.
Mm.
It's either at the Copper Box or one street over
At the-
where FIFA does all their
Yep,
events at
the actual
I think
stadium.
It's here. No, not at the stadium. It's called the Here East or something. It's
Is that not the stadium?
no.
Okay, I heard.
It's not. It has nothing to. I think it's off the actual Olympic Park.
Oh, I see.
But it's like it's a shared kind of office space
Mm.
where the developers of Football Manager are in, and so there's like a lot of other office space, and that's always where they just have a massive studio space that they can use. That's where all FIFA does all their events, or EA does all their events. I don't think FIFA does theirs because they usually go to Copenhagen.
Copenhagen.
I'm so like out of the loop because the only time I've been to London for an esports event was with Gfinity, which is like they basically have half a movie theater inside that mall.
Oh yeah.
And so it's like you're like their main stage is literally just a movie theater.
That's crazy.
Do they
Yeah.
still exist?
I don't think so. I think they got bought.
I think the last thing I saw from Gfinity was them doing the first season of Formula E.
Or maybe COVID hit them.
Hmm. What game?
Gears.
Years.
Yeah.
God damn.
Gfinity was big back
Yeah,
in like,
once upon a time, yeah.
back in like
they were,
your glory days.
yeah, in my glory days, it was
Your
like, we were
glory
excited,
days.
man. We were going to London.
Way back when.
I was back in my day. I was hyped though. I was like, oh my god, like hood rats and gears going to London. Like
Dude,
that's
I mean,
gonna be lit.
that's sick. It was my first time in London for the recent Apex LAN. I was so hyped.
Why do I get a look?
I
from our
like literally
producer?
spend my entire time when you guys talk just looking at our producer and she's just losing her mind at all these random comments.
I said hood rats, and she just got a look on her face like I just said some bad word.
I mean,
They were okay. No, the joke I always made for Gears players was, growing up, they could either pick the red bandana, the blue bandana, or the Xbox controller. Bloods, Crips, or Gears.
Yeah.
did you grow up
For
in
the-
an area with Bloods and Crips?
I grew up in an area with fake Bloods and Crips.
Ah, the pose.
There was, so like right out. I was Eastern Shore of Maryland, so it was like mostly farm.
Maryland.
Yeah,
God damn.
yeah, it was like mostly farm.
Yeah.
And there was this one street in the town near my high school called Flower Street, and that was like the ghetto,
Yeah.
and that was like where all like the fake gangsters were.
Sure.
And the funny part was like it's in the middle of farmland, so it's like, I mean, it's all around it is just like rednecks.
Yeah, that's funny to imagine because I grew up in San
Stop
Jose.
making faces. Rednecks is not a bad word. Is rednecks a bad word?
I think it actually is.
The origins
No.
are funny.
It's because they were working out in the fields and
Yeah,
got
yeah.
burned
I
on
mean,
the
there's
back
a
of
lot
their
of things
necks.
that are considered offensive to people for
Well,
sure.
redneck.
But
isn't
I mean,
offensive.
I don't know. I don't know. But
My family's from West Virginia. I'm allowed to use redneck.
he's allowed. There we go. I don't know if that's how. Yes.
That's
I
how
don't
it
think
works.
that's how it works.
Yep.
It is.
I'm
I'm also allowed to make
but-
moonshine.
You know how to make moonshine?
Nope, but I'm allowed
Oh my god.
because I'm from West Virginia.
We got to get on that then.
I feel like the federal government is going to say no.
I mean,
well,
moonshine would be dope.
they say no to a lot of things these days, so
Yeah,
we'll roll
any-
with the punches.
Anyways, we'll continue though. We'll
Yeah.
continue.
So yeah, there was that one like ghetto street, but yeah, Gears kids very very ghetto. And for like that season of Gears, they were flying us to London for that event. We went to Paris, but they always did it like the worst times. Like our very first big major was like a $300,000 event,
Yeah.
which was huge for Gears at the time, was during Thanksgiving, like literally Thanksgiving weekend.
Dope.
We had to fly out on Wednesday, and we had media day, and then we went to an Italian restaurant for Thanksgiving dinner.
Perfect.
And then had the event Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then they were like, why is nobody attending as a spectator? Oh, I don't know, because everybody's with their families for Thanksgiving.
For actual Thanksgiving, yeah.
But you were in Europe.
No.
Oh.
So like our first event of the season was Thanksgiving. Then we went to London.
Thanksgiving where though? Here?
Columbus, yeah.
Columbus, Ohio.
Because that was always the thing with like the original DreamHack Winter in Sweden was always on Thanksgiving weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And the bigger it got, the more Americans came over, and they were constantly complaining. And I remember Kyle, I think, not fully getting the concept of not everyone celebrating Thanksgiving.
Sure.
So he was like, they were like all very confused that
pissed.
like they would have an event during Thanksgiving. I was like, no one cares about Thanksgiving here. Like,
yeah, like
it's
not
literally
that
not
much,
a thing.
Dude. Yeah.
Why would we celebrate or whatever, like Thanksgiving of like coming over on the Mayflower or whatever whatever it is? Like that has nothing to do with us.
Well, I mean, we can cook up a meal any day.
Yeah,
but
right?
tonight we're
Especially
esportsing. That's true.
When we went to Paris, we were all terrified because it was during their elections. And like the guy who was in the lead that year was like very controversial.
Yeah.
And he was supposed to have a parade the Monday after the event, aka our travel day home.
Oh no.
Right down the street of the hotel, like in front of the hotel that they had put us in.
Just straight in downtown kind of thing.
Literally. So we were all like, because big controversial election in Paris, like everybody is like on edge, and there's like whispers of like violence and riots and all of this stuff. And you're like, I want out of this country right now.
It's either that or you just accept it and you start partying. You get in there, dude.
I mean, we won, so we partied.
That's pretty good.
We went to an arcade.
How was it though? Did they just like?
You went to an arcade for a party?
Yeah.
That's fair.
We're gamers.
Interesting.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Arcades go hard.
Arcades do go hard.
Yeah.
I got one of my players to ride a mechanical bull at the arcade.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that was funny.
How did he do?
Big
World
arcade.
record?
Not great. He was overweight at the time.
Oh.
Yeah. So he just kind of got yeeted off.
For sure.
But no, that event was a lot of fun. It was just like the timing was
impeccable.
Yeah. They always seem to do that. Man.
Yeah, of course.
So during the Rocket League event, we had another team competing, Game Changers.
Yeah.
Game Changers.
Game Changers qualified for. So they played the qualifiers for Game Changers. They don't call it split. It's like it's just one.
They have a very weird naming convention because the first day is basically called open qualifier, and then there's a close qualifier, but there's no real separation between the two. And then it's the main event. Top 8 is basically the main event. Top 8.
Oh, series. It was like VCT Game Changers Series.
Oh yeah,
1.
it's Series 1. Yeah.
Because why make it easy to
Nah.
understand?
I mean, it's Series and the 1. I don't know how you make it.
That's so complicated. Anyways, look,
the
again,
first
The
number
first of the series.
Yeah. You expect me to count that high? You kidding me?
to 1.
You kidding me? Meow.
I have troubles past 4, so 1 is fine.
Well, yeah.
Well, that's because Apex is teams of 3s. It's like I killed 1, I killed 2, I killed 3.
That's it.
If a fourth one shows up, you're fucked.
It's like, he's hit for 2-3. He's hit for 2-3. Push.
He's always one shot.
I hit him 4 times for 2-3. Yeah.
Actually, that reminds me. I don't know if this happens in Apex ever, but like, do you ever call that somebody is one shot when you know they're not, just to give your teammates confidence that they can win the fight?
I mean, there's a whole variety of reasons to call someone one shot: to give confidence, to get someone killed, to laugh, to
bad math.
Bad math. I mean, so there's it's especially like iconic in Apex. You're sitting there, someone's standing still 40 meters away, and you shoot them and you miss every bullet. 190. Oh my god, pissed on. And your teammates are like, where? And you're just like, fucking there. Oh, he popped a bat. It's damn, dude, come on. Where
He's
are we
not
at?
hurt. He has shields, bro. Oh, bro, like, I hit him.
He popped a bat. Like, what can you do?
You.
So there's definitely been those calls.
Yeah, we had that all the time. Like, teammates, I would notice it watching the VODs. Like, one of my players would call somebody one shot, and we'd make a push off that and die. And I would look at the health bar, and he had like 80-something% health. And I'm like, he's not one shot. More like you hit one pellet out of your shot.
Yeah.
And he's like, Yeah, but I just wanted to give him confidence so he'd actually push.
Dude, I mean, you remember the famous clip of Freakazoid on B-Site Cash? Where, I don't know who it was, Stewie or Shroud or some shit. They're like, oh, he's fucking won, bro. And he's like, are you sure? He's like, yeah. And he goes and pushes, and he 3 body shots him with a USPS on backside with 9 HP. He's like, what the fuck? He's not won. And he clutches up anyways. But everybody gave him shit for it because it was like, dude, it was 100 health versus 9 HP. It was just insane. So that's what that.
What's the funniest call out? I've gone away from Game Changers a little bit. We'll get back to it. What is the funniest like call out when you hit somebody like a decent amount of damage in Apex?
I'd say like the most out of pocket thing is people be like, I just fucking had sex with that guy. I just had sex with him. Yeah, that's a pretty popular comm because it's just like, dude, how else do you express that this guy like you just fucking shit on that guy? So
is that how? Never mind.
Dude,
you know what? We'll save that for the after hours podcast.
Yeah, I mean it's a thing. It's a thing, dude. A lot of EU pros will say like the most out of pocket shit, and you're just like, damn. It's like I just ate his fucking ass. You know, and I mean,
I've heard that one.
Yeah,
before.
of course, dude.
I think the funniest one in Gears was, I hit him with a dick.
Same thing, just different, right? Like fuck. They all do it to each other too, so it's fine.
Gamers.
It's like if I get shit, I'm like, dude, that guy just fucked me, dude. I'm like,
oh yeah,
yeah, for sure.
Like that is common, but just like the stuff people say when they get excited in the moment of like, oh my god, I just did so much damage to this person.
It's crazy.
And I want to let my team know how excited I am about this. Like just the craziest stuff.
It's important to be like concise, but it's also important to convey the urgency from it too. So it's like if you're loud, doesn't matter what the fuck you say. For sure.
So Game Changers, so they made it.
Game Changers.
There's no. That's just.
I was about to say
you
gave up transitions
right there. Yeah, I'm
30
not
minutes
being clever
into the
with this one. So they made it through the qualifiers, but there was a little bit of an issue because they ran into CLG Red, former CLG Red, who put up a fight. All credit to them, but I think we were pretty confident that was going to be a win for us, right?
Yeah. I think like the next game showed it because we ran into them again.
Yeah.
In the first round of the main event. And
yeah, we 13 won them the second map.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially
I think they felt like they had something to prove.
Yeah.
But yeah. CLG Red. I think we're getting into that topic a little bit later. Not CLG specific, but that entire circumstance. But like credit to them because that was a run against the odds of like epic proportions.
They got top 4, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got top 4. They eliminated EG, and then fell to I believe XSET in the top 4 game. But the top 6 game they won against EG, who looked really good leading up to this. Also always or obviously winning the Paradox tournament. And doing. I think getting 3rd at Astral.
That's pretty good.
They look good, and then they ran into CLG, who, if you go back, if you want to watch like an insane clutch, go back to that. Like I think it's the 24th round. It's 12-11. It's a 1v3.
Yeah.
And I think it's Han or Emilu, on.
Who was it? I remember exactly what you're talking about.
On Spectre, like using the ultimate to go to the other bomb site in 1v3.
Was it the mogul? Or was
it was the mogul.
That was good.
You probably saw that clip,
I did
right?
see that
clip.
clip.
That clip went kind of viral.
Yeah, that was insane.
Yeah, it was nuts. That's what kept them in the tournament. They win that overtime and stay in.
Yeah.
That round that clutch sent them to overtime.
Yeah,
and I think they got
the
an
last
ace.
round.
They killed all 5 people that round.
Oh yeah,
like that's.
I'm pretty sure it was Emilu.
That is some absolute ice in your veins to kill all 5 people, like to get an ace and a 1v3 clutch on the round that's like we lose this round, we go home.
100%. I mean, and if you take a look, all 3 of the kills were challenges that they won.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah, it was a lot of like 1v1 challenges.
Yeah.
Which EG probably wants to go back, but like even the initial because they all takes like what 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And you get a very like like very noticeable audio clip
Yeah.
in this. Like, so it's not like a hidden thing.
Oh, yeah,
everybody knows. 'Cause it messes up your
And she
video.
was in the open. She was on the bomb site in like a small corner. But if anyone at any point just like peeks around that corner, that is just over.
Yeah.
See, that's what I was thinking about too, is like they had bomb down on the other site, and that's the cool thing about Omen, is that ult allows you to make a play to where like you're going into a situation that is 100% controlled for you, right? But I noticed that some of the lurkers still hadn't committed over to like the A site or whatever, and they were pretty fast on the rotate. Like the first person there was already playing mid in a 3v1. It's like, oh my god. It's kind of crazy. So it's kind of cool to see those mechanics in Valorant, especially attack shooter like that, really shine and enable like these playmaking opportunities.
That's something I really like about Valorant, because like I have an appreciation for pretty much every esport, and I definitely like CS, but in terms of like what I like to play, I think CS was so aim focused, and my aim is dusty. But if we go into Valorant, at least I can like outsmart people a little bit more with abilities, or just like with that kind of extra dimension.
Yeah.
And I think like that clip is a prime example of like being able to use your abilities to the fullest. And then not only that, but in that clutch, like, yes, it was several 1v1s that she had, but she was like positioning herself on the site to force EG to take the 1v1 chows.
Yeah.
And so like that's something that I don't think enough players have, especially in those like high pressure moments, the ability to be like, if I position myself just slightly off angle, this becomes a 1v1, and it's less likely I'm going to get traded, and then I can like reset, take the next 1v. Because like in any clutch in almost any game, like you're just trying to get the numbers separated,
make it even, and that's the worst thing you can do, especially in a attack shooter game that has the fast TTK, just like one headshot, you know.
Yeah, I think Apex players are really good at not letting that happen, more often than not.
Oh my gosh,
especially in like those end zone circles.
Yeah, if you got a controller though, you're vibing. You just pick people off like nothing.
Here we go.
It's insane. It's insane, dude. It's like
At least it's not Gibby Bubbles
40
anymore.
minutes.
I wish it was Gibby Bubbles.
You like that better than
fuck yeah,
the Wall
dude.
of Death? I don't know what that thing's called.
Yeah, the catwall. Well, because the thing is like the catwall's fine, but it's the cereals that fuck everything up.
Yeah.
You know? But with Gibby Bubbles, it's like you can control the fight, because the fight it wasn't like dependent on the topography, because you created the fucking cover. Now it's like, because there's no jibbies, it's okay, this is my cover. If I swing this, I have to fucking commit to it, and one of us is dying 100%, like, of the time. So
I think we should just go back to where Lifeline could, just throw our bot down, and you could just have heal offs in the
in zone. Oh my god, dude!
Season 1 OG shit.
That was hilarious. That was.
I remember
so funny.
in the competitive like Discord server, they banned it like after a couple scrims, because like you would get to that final circle and there's like 6 teams up and you can't find any of them because they're all standing around a Lifeline.
We were one of the first teams to do that on WBG, me, Urban, and Bert, and it would be so bad that we would have fast heal, and then we would shuttle the Lifeline all of our heals since zone 2. And then we would literally be healing for 18 minutes straight for the win. But that was the thing, though, is because Poland Invitational was announced, and we were like, dude, this isn't like regulated by EA. Like, the devs need to make a change, or, I don't know, figure out some ruling for it, because if it's not, then I'm going to practice that shit 100%. Like, there's no question about it. So there's a big divide in the community when that happened, until they changed the zone. But I was like, yeah, heal that shit. So, yeah.
Well, something that's super prevalent right now in Apex is Bang, like Bangalore.
Yes.
She's absolutely meta now, and mainly because of the smoke use.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that go into play. There's a lot of metas, right? Like there's a solid maybe 4 or 5 different team compositions that are viable at like the highest level that we've seen succeed. And Bang has always been good, but it's really the shake up to the class system inside the game, the beacons and stuff, and the introduction of Stormpoint as a map. So it's like now her value, because of her ult on Stormpoint, because of her the assault class and her smokes and stuff. It's been pretty insane to see just the development of metas for sure, or just like team comps and how they've come into comp play.
Yeah. I definitely like what they did with those changes, but where I was going to go with that is have you seen the CS2 trailer or like stuff that's come out?
Yes, I mean I've seen very minimal. I think it's everybody's seen like the smoke stuff, you know.
Yeah.
That's where I was going. So
Yes.
would you want to see that kind of mechanic where bullets or grenades could affect smokes applied to a game like Apex?
So I think that could be cool. Could be interesting. There's already a lot of ways to kind of counter smoke as it is, from knowing exactly where everybody is, or
Because you're
having
playing
like
Seer.
a DT. Yeah, or just shooting people and stuff. That could be interesting. I've never really thought about that. I don't know if it'd be like have that much of an impact, because not a lot of teams are running Bangalore. Maybe there's like
Really?
3 or 4 teams in North America that are
You guys
actually
are,
running
right?
Bang. What?
You guys,
We do.
yeah.
And that's because Cody's a filthy MNK one trick.
Well, he's also like, I remember I watched, I don't know what week that was, where he got that, like, he ratted basically to like top
Dude,
3
oh my god,
on
yeah.
Bang.
Dude, that was the most unfortunate game ever. Because we had the building and we had like
I'm like
7
hyping it up.
kills.
He's like, yeah, that was super
No,
unfortunate.
it was
I
Cody.
hated that game.
Cody's rat skills were insane, but oh my god, it was like we should have. It was bad.
Yeah.
So like we had 7 kills on the building, and I was on top of the building, and some other team slid down the hill to come fight us, and I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? And they happened to throw an aid and hit me for 100 and launched me off the zone, and I got sacrificed to the team underneath, and then they killed him.
I do think that's dumb. I think like the fact that nades can like basically
Displace
catapult you.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like it's like, oh my god, 100 banger, he's off the roof, push, you know.
Yeah.
So I definitely should have been like, it's just unfortunate. There's not a lot you can do. Like there's that and Kraber. You know, if you get Kraber and it's like, oh fuck, what can
Yeah.
I do? But then they
Per
cleared.
your own words, you just got had sex with. So
Dude, he just fucked me with that nade, 100%. I'm banging my desk muted and shit, and Cody and Luda are fucking fighting, and like Kimchi, our coach, is like, oh dude, like whatever, it's like
Yeah.
nothing you can do. But then we clean it up, and then we Valkyl, and then I'm calling a spot, and then like last second I'm like, what about the roof of this? And they're like, yeah, I like that, and I'm like, oh fuck no, it's not in zone. You're piled up with 4 teams, and so like Luda dies, but because he's bang, he lives, and then he plays in like the one spot that you can play as a rat. We're just like between the rocks, down by the waterfall, juggle aggression. If they push you on cannon, you're fucked. You're just dead. Whatever.
Yeah.
And they didn't, because it's
Well, they
real-
tried. 'Cause,
They tried a little bit. They missed 2 teams missed Syracuse. They had him 1 HP.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, Cody, you're fucking scaring me, bro. Just shut up and stop moving, you know. But it was good. They tried to push him. They couldn't, of course, in like real play. Everything's on the line.
Yeah.
So teams are more predictable in that sense. You know, if they don't hit the seer scan, they're not pushing you. They're not fucking jeopardizing like a guaranteed conversion to top 2, right?
Well, I feel like Furia could have made that push because Furia was the team playing cannon,
Mm-hmm.
and it was almost like, I don't know which person on Furia it was, but at the same time that they were like kind of like posturing to push Cody,
Yeah.
his Watson was on the other side, like basically going like, fuck it, push TSM, and like all of a sudden everybody turned around and pushed TSM.
Yeah. TSM won that game, right? Yeah.
yes, I
From
think
cannon
so.
side. Yeah. Like there were a couple times that team kind of played out of pocket from the cannon, but it's like you have to deal with the information you have, and if you commit for that, you know, there's a chance that the other team on the other rock swings and they clip you, and if you're down 100 health, and that gives momentum to the other team that doesn't have a good spot. So it's like they definitely could have, but at the same time, they just don't have the necessary information. So that it was so like everything had to line up for Cody to get that rat off. Like
Yeah.
if I hadn't gotten naded off, we would have been top 3. We would have probably won the game, or been top 2 for sure with a bunch of kills, because we would have taken the spot that Cody ended up playing. But that was like so clutch, and you can't do that without Bang either.
No.
Right? Like
You
that
need that
is
cover.
Bang exclusive. You know, if you're not Syracuse, then you're smoking your feet and you're living. So that was crazy. It was insane.
That was fun to watch.
I liked that game. I was just like, yeah, Cody, fuck yeah. So
And speaking of fun to watch, back to Game Changers.
I was about to say we're not
So,
never gonna get to
I did
through the
not
game changer
forget.
topic.
No, we're gonna
so
show
sorry.
love to that team because they put in work.
Yeah,
were
they're
here
amazing.
they
They
were
were
here
fine.
for a boot camp for 3
3
weeks.
weeks.
Yeah.
dude, yeah,
Yeah.
how's that having them around in the office?
Hmm?
How was that having them in the office?
Loud.
Yeah.
They're very loud. They're very excited. They're very loud. They're very confident in their teammates, and
Mhm.
they're very like vocal about hyping teammates up. So
I love that.
it was it was very
Yeah.
loud. It was
Louder than us?
Oh, absolutely.
yes, absolutely. There's
Like-
there's no team that we ever had here that is louder than that team.
Perfect. I like
Um,
that. That's that good energy.
Yeah, it is. It's fun hearing them, especially like all the way back at my desk. Like they were in T3, and you could just perfectly clear hear them when they were getting hyped.
Perfect.
It is a great thing about this building and having teams here. You know when your teams are doing well, and you're like watching the broadcast, which is like
Delayed.
5 minutes delayed or something. And then we had obviously the internal stream with their comms that was also still like 30 seconds or 45 seconds. And I don't know if you were here.
No, I was watching from home.
Yeah, it was one of the things. It was a 1v3 or something, and we've heard them pop off, and that was like we just turned on the stream and we didn't know how much the delay actually was.
Yeah.
And we thought it was like almost instant because it was their own like YouTube stream for their recording. They just shared the thing so we can watch, and it was we tuned in. It was a 1 versus 3 or something, and we heard them scream like 10 seconds into that, and we're like, oh, it's still that delayed, like 2 minutes or something. There's no way they win this round. And then I think Lace or whoever clutches it, I was like, oh god, they're feeling themselves today, and it got louder and louder, and you can hear. I think that was the CLG
momentum.
Yeah, I think so too.
They just rode that momentum. But even then, like with Rocket League as well, I think you were here for the one tournament where the LAN qualification was actually on the line, and we watched the broadcast, which we were producing on the Friday, and we were watching it all. It's just one game away, and all of a sudden, like all hell breaks loose in the room. So it's 30 seconds still left, and we just like we just won. We just qualified for LAN. It's just like rush over there. So I think that's like the greatest thing about this place.
Sure.
And same, like you've
Discord,
been
Discord.
here. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You've been here before, like as well. Like you're just screaming, and all of a sudden, like people are in the room because they either think you were hurt or you just did something amazing.
I mean, I remember getting talked to because I was so loud when I first came here with like Reptar and Mirko.
Yeah, I think it has changed.
For sure.
Our understanding of how loud people actually are and how like not soundproof the doors are has definitely changed. I felt bad for Ford because we put them in our third training room because they came with manager and coach, so they needed the bigger room.
Just all of it.
So Allie was always in the room.
Yeah.
But that room is directly bordering to our first offices, which is Ford and Ken.
Yeah, right
that
there.
sit in that office, and the walls are not that thick.
No.
So they were hearing everything.
Oh, I'm sure.
From hype moments to loud discussions and everything. So.
I'm sure if they felt like a part of the team.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Well, the energy in the whole HQ definitely elevates. Like when there's teams here, like when you guys are here doing your thing, like that's why I love when like the Halo team comes to boot camp or GX3 or the fact that Rocket League is here, pretty much every day now is like just the vibe is
dope.
Up.
Even when other teams are here, like we've hosted boot camps for the Valorant teams of 100 Thieves when they did their like intense boot camp for I think it was like the last chance qualifier, or we hosted the Guard for like the first of last season or whatever it was, when they kept extending. They were supposed to be here for 2 weeks and they kept extending it.
They were here for a long time.
Yeah, they were here for like 2 months, I think.
Yeah,
they were originally supposed to be here for 2 weeks for a boot camp. And then they kept winning and making it further and further in the tournament. So they extended, and they ended up living here basically for 2 weeks, 2 months.
That's awesome.
And then going to Iceland obviously is like in that like surprise premiere season.
Yeah, like the Cinderella story.
Yeah,
which was cool to watch.
But even then, like you have teams, and they're not necessarily complexity teams. But people from there that have been with complexity or have like some sort of connection. Even if they don't, you're still rooting for them because they are here. You see them. You 100%. See them. You see their hard work every day. You saw like 100 Thieves, I think, did 5 hours of replay review every single day for 6 days straight, and they had the door open sometimes, and like their meticulous planning, like you gain an appreciation for like just how much they're putting into it, and you're just like very much rooting for them because you know how much it means to them. You know how much they're putting into it.
Especially in an esports and a video game that's more controlled, like a 5v5. I keep saying and advocating for like, I don't know, the modern higher tier esports and the professionalism and the work culture for it. In terms of putting all the time in, going through the VOD review, having just like in Apex, a lot of the players and teams are complacent, right? And it's because like you don't control everything, so you're always just playing adaptive, so you never want to work on like fundamentals that are so detailed that like if something goes wrong you don't know what to do. But that also leaves like, I don't know, weird work culture for how active or efficient people are, or how I don't know, dedicated, so to say. So I'm hoping that with Apex specifically, we can kind of see that shift in professionalism from the players and teams as we continue to go. But that's what that reminds me of, 5 hours of VOD review and having, individual coaching sessions and scrims and all that stuff. It's sick. I love that. I'm sure that contributes to the overall energy of the whole place.
Seeing GX3 put in that work and then seeing it turn around and like almost immediately pay off, like the difference between the first time they played CLG Red and then when they played them again the next week, it was a night and day difference 100%. Because of the work they put in.
Yeah,
it was really cool.
It translates well, right?
Yeah.
Sick.
But they had a good. I'm sure they were hungry for more, but they had a good tournament. Like they got what, top 6?
Yeah, top 6.
It's all experience.
Back to back top 6 for the GX3 program that we're running. I think they wanted a little bit more. But ultimately, they're still like a very young team. We had to do roster changes again. Yeah. Jazzy came on.
Jazzy Goat.
Jazzy and Race came on as like the new players, obviously. And we're trying to, similar to what how we're doing a lot of esports programs in Complexity, we're trying to get them like up to speed, get them experiences, and this is ultimately all like still of that like first phase of their developmental program.
Sure,
where we sent them
early, kind of like our team.
Yeah, where we sent them to Vegas for a LAN, then they qualified for another Vegas LAN, and then they have their first big boot camp as a team, which doesn't really seem that impactful, but ultimately it's like 3 weeks you're away, you were in a different environment, like adjusting to that, you are having the stressful games where like almost all your games are kind of like with like some pressure. Like, yes, you first round of Game Changers, you play against teams that are not necessarily up to par. Like your entire group stage, you kind of just walk through. Every top team like loses a total of 6 rounds in that first day or something. But still, like you can't squander that as well. Like you cannot be complacent for any game of that like 14 days of competition. And like that is a completely different experience. And even though like all of the players have experienced this in different teams, but like how's the vibe going? Like who keeps the vibe up? Who needs to like energize people when things go tough? Who is maybe or even there to rein you down when you're getting too excited or something? Like figuring all of that out is like a big cornerstone of how your team can interact. So like this was the first Game Changer event, and I've been hoping for a year and a half now that we're gonna go from one Game Changers to the next Game Changers without any roster changes, without drama, without anything, and just like having that continuous growth in the team and just like
work on it.
Yeah, exactly. Like in 12 weeks, I think is the next Game Changers roughly. They're gonna be here again for 3 weeks or something, and they're gonna have a lot more like things automated. They're gonna have a lot less like, oh, are you doing this now? And like a lot more of like the muscle memory almost. Like you know what your teammate is going to do. You know how the LAN environment is going to work. Bless you.
And they'll be on the podcast.
Yeah.
Which, that'll just be
sorry?
They'll be on the podcast.
That's true.
Dope.
Which, that's just a bonus.
Yeah, and then like how are you reacting to the pressure situation of being on this podcast?
Yeah.
And being completely off rundown and and not being prepared for anything that we're doing here.
It's fun. I will say, as a pro player, I know the value of team dynamic and team culture and how important it is to like the success of a team. So as a new team, being able to have just that initial experience, with your crew, with your squad.
Today's episode of Keepin' It Simple is brought to you by Absolutely Nothing. That's right, Absolutely Nothing is sponsoring this podcast. So if you would like your logo here, or maybe right here between us, hit us up, hit our line, bang our line, reply in the comments. I don't give a shit. Just hit us up, and your logo We could tattoo it on Monsoon for all I care.
We cannot do that.
We could.
We could.
How many pigs does it take to get you a tattoo?
3.
3?
3.
Is there any brand that you would be cool with having tattooed on?
I mean,
it
depends on like what for, you know. Like,
well,
why am I getting a tattoo? Like, I do
because someone pays us to tattoo you.
Yeah.
Do I get some of the money?
No.
Then
you're the guest. It's just our money. We're just
I'll
using you as free advertising space.
50-50 with you.
Then yes, I'd be done.
Okay.
Is there an amount?
Yeah.
I mean,
everyone has a dollar amount.
I'd probably do it for like $1,000.
$1,000?
Yeah.
That's relatively
dude,
cheap.
my body is a fucking canvas, and I got a lot of free space right now.
And you want to get painted?
Dude, I'm gonna be neck to toe.
If I pay you $1,000 to have my name on your forehead, would you do
my
it?
forehead?
Yeah.
I said neck to toe.
Okay.
All right. That'd be at least $20,000.
Okay.
That's like prime real estate.
I have $20,000.
All right, so now that the ad read's over, we were, before our little break, we were talking about the former Complexity Apex roster and not qualifying for LAN several times, how that kind of affected you guys.
Sure.
So before we talk about the new Complexity roster, I think that point of topic of how the not qualifying for LAN could have affected you guys might be something important that we could see for TSM, because Hal tweeted this could be the first event that they're not qualifying for. Is that actually true? Like, are they in a situation where they can't make it?
They're in a scuffed position, for sure, right? But once again, it's not over till it's over. They could bring back top 3s, 2 top 3s, and then qual. They could win regional finals and qual, and they've won playoffs. They've won LAN. They've won like 90% of the LANs, you know?
So it's just they're in a situation where it's not guaranteed anymore.
Yeah, it's not 100. Well, they're guaranteed qualing to championships, just not
Worlds?
this next LAN. Yes, because after this is the Pro League split 2.
Yeah.
Top 11 from this go to the playoffs in London, and then the playoffs is the second playoffs to determine who goes to Worlds.
Gotcha.
And they won last time, and top 7 guaranteed got spots. So XSET's already guaranteed to go, TSM's already guaranteed to go, along with some other EU teams. But I don't know. It's kind of silly, you know. Hal has just won for so long that his standards are so high up there. So the moment a couple things don't go well, then it fucking crashes down. You know, it crumbles. Which, it's. I mean, I felt that a little bit in some capacity, like I was explaining earlier. But regardless, it's like this dude's won 5-6 LANs. He's the CEO. He's the most well-known player. You know, I know he's probably not stoked with the idea of it being difficult for them, but not impossible. But I also know that he's probably excited for the idea of a watch party, because that just means so much money and viewers and stuff like that. Like, man, it'd be insane. But yeah, they're in a pretty rough spot. I think he's a little overwhelmed with it right now, despite like the nature of it being not that big of a deal, you know.
So they're not completely out. If they get top 3 the next 2 days, or if they win playoffs, which they've done before.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
That seems like a
So why is he giving up?
Yeah.
That's the thing, right? Yeah, that's the question for everybody right now. Is
why put that out there?
It's like, because I mean, I even responded. I was like, dog, I haven't made LAN in fucking 2 years, and I'm still trying, brother. Like, suck it up, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like, it can still work. It can still happen. And he knows it, too. And regardless, when it comes to the day, like, he's going to put everything in try. But, I mean, there has been some talks and some rumors of shit or looming around where it's like, you know, the bad vibes are manifesting and stuff like that. And that's kind of detrimental to, like, the whole team aspect, you know. But, I mean, I think it's going to be fine. A lot of these teams, you know, NRG was in a really bad spot for the first 4 weeks of Pro League and then pulled back-to-back, like, first places and then a third place and qualified last second. Like, these teams are good enough to consistently pull it back if they need to. And TSM is notoriously a team to do bad for the first 3 games of set and then win the next 2 games and have 60 points in top 3. And it's like, what the fuck, dude? It's like, crazy. So it's a little rough, but I mean, I think they're just gonna pull it back. And if not,
do you see them qualifying?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, they've done it time and time again. There's only been one event that they haven't qualified for, and that was like their lowest of the low, you know. But they just came back and won the next one, anyways. So, yeah, I still think. I mean, they have the potential. If there's any team that's gonna do it, it's them. They just can't get in their in their own heads too much.
Yeah,
and they can't lose trust with each other. Like, you can kind of tell that, like, Hal being the big dude, being the IGL and shit, you have to stay confident. And that means, like, you're not, obviously, all humans are not perfect, right? You can't be correct and right 100% of the time.
Yeah.
But you can tell that sometimes the dynamic of trust kind of falters a little bit. It's like, oh, I don't know what the fuck my teammates are doing. And it's like, well, you're kind of looking at the micro details and not thinking about the whole picture, the whole point, and how to progress from that point, because they've just been doing it with each other for so long.
Yeah. Well, he's got a pretty abrasive leadership style that works for him.
Yeah.
Clearly.
It does.
It's just like you either have to be bought in 100% or not at all for him. From as a teammate of his would be my guess.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's just like I can see it a little bit, like walking on eggshells, Jordan and Big E. You know, the communications previous or like recently have been lackluster because at some point it's like you not only don't want to fuck up, but you don't want to contribute to ideas because you just want to listen to the dude. And if it fucks up, then it's on him, and that's like bad. You know, like you want that team accountability. And like you said, Hal is super abrasive, but you know Jordan's been playing with him for fucking years.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like it is passion to an extent. You know, as long as you don't take it fucking personally. But I mean, it can go bad, can be bad. It's kind of teetered on that line for a minute now, but I feel like they always pull it back. Mm-hmm.
Cool. I mean, I hope they do. I like watching that team compete, but it's definitely. I saw that tweet and I was like, damn, really? Like,
dude,
that's weird.
Somebody's just gotta fucking slap him in the back, stand up straight.
Like one of those like wake up like you're still in this. Come
like
on.
The Jibby res in the bubble.
Yeah,
thing,
literally, literally.
Like, dude, you're good. Like, even if you don't quad this, you got worlds. You're still the most successful Apex player. Everything's fine, but. You know,
you'll live. You'll be all right.
You'll live.
That watch party will. As soon as you see that Twitch paycheck come in,
the watch party would go insane. Let's be real. It'd probably get more viewers than the actual event.
Oh, absolutely.
So
yeah.
That'd
be a cool program actually. If like Apex, because you know how Joxon had that one FIFA event, he was allowed to stream on his channel.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I would like to see more esports do that, where like if you're in a match, you're allowed to stream that match, or they'll like stream it to your channel, or give you a key or a feed or something.
Yeah, that could be cool. I think they want to avoid that, especially with the command center that they have.
I was about to say they have it internally, or try to have it internally, right?
Yeah, but like
it's been broken the past like 4 months.
It wasn't even working last week.
I saw that.
Yeah, but you know, command center is really fun.
It is cool. It is a really cool feature. So roster dynamics are really important.
Mm-hmm.
What made you decide on Cody, Luda, and Coach Kimchi? Like, how did you get there?
Lil Kimmy, Big C, and Sir Luda lot. Yeah.
Sure. Let's go with those names.
I mean, so like, thankfully, even though I wasn't playing, I was XSET sub, and they paid my way to come out there for the event. But then they ended up changing it so that if you did test positive, you could still play. So
that was last playoffs?
Yeah, last playoffs in London. And you know, I got to thankfully just meet a bunch of the people, you know, see a bunch of the teams. You know, I actually had the pleasure of doing some analytical work for the desk and stuff like that. And so I got to meet a lot of people who haven't been playing comp for a long time. Like Cody, that was his first event. This is Cody's first ever legitimate pro league split. Like, he's never really played comp before this.
Wow.
So, like, being able to have the excuse to meet these people, you know, they were super cool. I talked their heads off. And because we're in kind of like similar situations of team shuffles and stuff like that. But my main thing was I really wanted to join something that somebody had already built, you know, which is kind of like the lazy way to get into it. But it's kind of not in the same aspect of I know what I can contribute and I know my value and I know like how I've just like tried so fucking hard to put the pieces together as like the main dude for the past 2-3 years.
It's hard.
But they showed up, they qualied through regional finals, they won finals, and then they got to grand finals through it, and they're really good players. Like, I know Luda's been around for a while. He came from the original Xbox group that, like, Sykes and Nelson came through.
Interesting.
And they were just all buddies on that and came over in, like, Season 7 or some shit like that and started playing, and now they're just, like, some of the best roller players in the world. So their skill was never an issue. It was more so whether or not I felt comfortable going in with the experience they had and trying to, like, shape it to be something that's truly successful and truly good, because like obviously I'm not the perfect player either. Like I'm hard focused on IGL. Early on it was like, oh, I'm the fragger and I make calls, whoa, holy shit. But now it's a little bit different because people have kind of caught up and people are super insane. So I wanted that system that they cared about, like truly cared about. You know, I didn't want to be like, all right, here we are, guys, we're gonna do this, and we're all gonna fucking care about it. You know.
Yeah.
Instead, it was like, hey, we got this going on. We're looking for teammates. You know, I've put everything into it as the coach. You know, they're full on ready to just dive in head first to whatever means necessary to like pick up the slack, considering we had to play a third of our Pro League matches than the first week of being a team, which was kind of difficult. But, you know, regardless. And it felt good. You know, I talked to all of them. They just wanted to win. You know, they wanted, above all else, to just be in a good, positive ecosystem with people that cared about each other, and that was just progress-oriented. So it was really dope talking to Kim. He just, like, had the whole plan. Like, the amount of work that guy does is insane. He kind of, especially within the first month, dude. Oh, my God. He was taking care of comps, drop spots, loot routes, other teams, VODs from every single POV, just, like, everything we could possibly need. Kovacs routines to just mesh together initially as like the team, which was super sick. And I talked to him about that before because that's specifically what I wanted.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I mean, it just felt good. Talking to them felt good, you know, especially in person. And they were like, yeah, we want to play with you. And it made sense and it worked out. We were doing pretty well at the beginning too. And Cody's just like this fresh M&K mind. Like, he's up there on M&K mechanics. Like, I'd say that controller to M&K right now in Pro League is like 55-45, which is kind of insane that we've seen controller take it up. And so the M&K fragger role has kind of fallen back because, once again, if you're a roller, you're hitting 95-100% of your shots.
Yeah.
And M&K players, like, that's just not going to happen all the time. But he's just super fresh mind, never played comp before, really hungry and extremely talented. So he doesn't have these years of baggage of playing Apex comp on his mind. You know what I'm saying? He's like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm gonna do this, yeah.
He's just like young and excited.
Yeah, exactly, bro.
Yeah.
He's like so innocent, so energetic. Like, he's full-time cybersecurity student too. He's doing like his final thesis right now and still showing up for 10 hours a day of Apex and all this other shit. So it's like super sick.
I love that.
And that once again also contributed to the overall vibes of me being confident and going in and making something work with the limited time that we had. Plus they had playoff points too, so kind of makes it easy. They're like, yeah, we got playoff points. Like, yeah, you guys are a fucking team, bro. Like, I'm coming into this shit.
Well, I know you always wanted that kind of like structure. That's something that you've talked to both of us about, is like,
yeah, totally.
But it's harder. It's definitely a different situation coming in and just knowing what you bring to an already established plan, like you said, versus, okay, I know what I bring, what pieces do I need, and then who fills those pieces, and then establishing that plan, making sure everyone's bought in. It's a completely different process.
It's like we've done that before, and we've invested and tried like our hearts out to the best of the ability at the current time and stuff, and like whether it works or not is a completely different question, right?
Yeah,
because like you can do all the fucking prep in the world and you just show up and then it just doesn't go your way, and then at that point it's like, fuck, dude, I'm just not good enough, you know, or anything like that. But I really wanted to, I don't know, something fresh, some sort of like resolve and motivation to truly put the work in, you know. And that's what I like about Luda too, is like Cody's the fresh young mind who's super positive and really talented, and Luda's like, he's been around for a little bit, he's the controller fragger, but he takes nothing personal, like, you know? And that's good. And it's one thing to not take anything personal, and it's another thing to not take anything personal but then feel discouraged to like feed ideas and information and have, you know, productive conflict and conversation to be able to figure out what the fuck to do. And that's one thing Luda does really well, is like, no bullshit, he'll just like, oh, what about this, why did we do this, oh, you know, just continuously, always, after every fight, he's always talkative. And it's like, if he brings up a play or brings up like an alternative play, and I'm just like, this is why it doesn't work, and this is why we did what we did, and this is why going forward I will always make the same play, we just need to handle the execution a little bit differently. And of course he doesn't let that get to him. He's like, okay, that makes sense, but you know, continues to talk about it. So yeah, those are all basically the main reasons why I wanted to hop on board with them too. Plus Kimchi's just so cool, you know. Shout out all three of them for sure. So kind of felt like I was just coming into something, and I was really, I don't know, enabling what they were building up rather than ground zero building it up all myself.
Love that.
Yeah,
love that. It's definitely fun watching the process of what you guys are doing kind of come together, like, dude, even throughout the Pro League, like it started off kind of looking like, okay, you're feeling each other out.
Mm-hmm.
And then now it's like every week you're getting some game wins.
100%. I mean, we've won more games this Pro League split than all the other Pro League splits combined.
Damn.
We've already won 5 games this split. And that was the biggest thing, was like a year and a half. Like, we would always put ourselves in the positions in these top 6 scenarios to, like, all we need to do is make one singular play to convert a 4-point game into a 15-plus point game.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's like our average placements was always top 6, but our point revenue was maybe 4 to 6 points per game, which is not a tourney winning. That's like an 8th place, 10th place, 12th place. That's why we were constantly 13th.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, now even the Pro League day that we won 2 games, and it's nice because, I don't know, coming in with like the lack of experience, you know, they're kind of hungry to envision their own play style and their own role into the game, so they kind of just like do their own shit, you know. Like, I'm not an IGL to where I can micro everything. Like, I don't want to fucking do that. You should know how to play the game. Like, don't fuck your abilities up. Don't over peak. Don't die. Don't get greedy.
Basic. Like don't fuck up, and I'll be a good IGL.
Yeah, but fuck up in the most like easily comprehensible fundamentals, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, you over peak that team. Why are you channeling that? Oh, you're 100 health. Why are you killing that? There's 3 people there. Why are you doing that? You used an ability wrong. Well, we died because of it, you know.
Yeah.
So just little stuff like that, or pacing and stuff, and that's something that they're super good at. You know, Cody especially. Is just playing that space and assuming and understanding that role at a conceptual level for himself naturally, and I feel like that is really going to differentiate like the good teams from the great teams. You know, the consistent teams from the inconsistent teams is everybody knowing like what to do in their situations and stuff like that. And so it's fucking sick. Yeah, we're just gonna keep going, keep playing. Of course, like, some of the zones, some of the games that we've had have been a lot easier than others, but that's the nature of BR, you know?
Yeah.
You take advantage of it when you can, when it's given to you.
So, your roster changed now that it seemed to, like, kind of, I don't want to say, like, pay off, because that feels almost too disrespectful, but, like, it seems to be starting to solidify for what you were looking for. I want your thoughts on, from a player perspective in this scene, on the drama around what Rambo, is that how you pronounce that?
Rambo, yeah.
Like, so my understanding from outside looking in, he was playing on a team. He was Sentinels, playing on Sentinels, and before that they were Guard. So, like, was it the same roster? The Sentinels pick up the whole Guard roster? So he's been with them for a while, and then he retires, and then less than 24 hours later, he joins
it was like a week.
Dark Zero.
Yeah.
Was it a week? I thought it was like under 24 hours.
It was like, it was a week.
Okay, so a week later.
Well, he started like playing with them underneath a different name, like maybe 2 or 3 days after.
See, that to me,
it's an instant flip.
Yeah, that to me, if you're playing with them under a different name, like, you're trying to hide what you're doing.
Yeah, 100%. I've done it too. But yeah, you're essentially, you're I mean, like, the drama's never fun, right?
Yeah.
And there's been, it's a super controversial topic in the Apex scene right now, because, you know, Sentinels they're heavy hitters. You know, Arcan has been in the game since the start. You know, his original team was him, Nocturnal, and Hill, who are all prestigious, super merited IGLs, like Hill of OXG, Nocturnal of XSET, who's currently number 1 in NA, and then him, who's Sentinels, who's been running the game for a while. So, it's definitely, it was interesting to see unfold. Like, it originally started when Rambo filled for a team at Champs and got like most kills, just MVP, just popped off in a random pickup team essentially. And he was always playing with Arcan and stuff on Guard. But I don't know, they were doing pretty well. They didn't do too well in the London Grand Finals. I think they got like 17th or 16th, like that. But the fact that they still got there is like insane on an international level, you know. And there's always room to improve. And then they came back, and I mean, Guard pulling out as an org kind of made everything difficult. Made it all spicy for him, you know. That's like a whole process that they had to go through, where like they weren't sure if they were gonna have an org or a paycheck.
But they landed a good home, and so like. Yeah. Backstory aside, it still feels like, I mean, I didn't watch him he was on
the Apex
podcast, but like, so I don't know what his side of it was, but it still seems
it's
like, what are your thoughts on that?
It's definitely a little sketch, right? Like, the idea of retiring, especially for Rambo, contextually it's all different, right? Because this dude's from a small town in Florida. He spends his weekends surfing and hanging out with people, He's there to have a good time, going through guard and sentinels. They're not doing well. A lot on his mind. Now, of course, like, it would be more understandable if that were genuinely the nature of the transaction. Whereas, like, dude, my family's in a weird spot. I don't know what I'm doing mentally. I think I'm going to take this next split off. And then he gets approached by the world champions. It's like, how can you not consider that, or at least even try? But I do think it was kind of bad. And I think he ended up admitting it himself. The way that he carried it was pretty bad. Because, I mean, of course, regardless of the context, you just kind of like left your team high and dry, middle of pro league, to join another team within a week later.
It's like crying wolf. It's like the esports equivalent of crying wolf.
Yeah.
And from an org perspective, if a player says they're retiring, like, we would be like, okay, more often than not, we would just say, like, okay, then we can release you from your contract, right?
Yeah.
Because, like, we're not trying to hold people contract hostage.
Make them non-compete, right?
Exactly.
Which would be ideal for $1 million esports scene with players of that caliber. So, yeah.
Like, I know we had a Halo player retire, and I told him, like we're releasing you from your contract, but, like, this is kind of on, like, a gentleman's agreement of you are not turning around and then playing for another team on a serious level. Like, if you still want to compete just for fun on the weekends, like, by all means.
But going to representing a whole new brand instantly, like, from the org side, that can't feel good or look good.
Like, I wonder if it was a play to get out of a buyout or out of an agreement.
I would assume so.
So I feel like that's how it lined up, but I feel like naturally he didn't really care about the buyout because Dark Zero would have paid it, and Rambo, like, I don't think Rambo is like, I'm gonna avoid the buyout and fuck my team over. It was more of like, ooh, God, like, holy shit, I'm already kind of about my team, and they're offering me. But it's like, still, like, you should still go out like the professional way and the most respectful way to the org and your team. Do
you think he knew before he announced his retirement
that he was going to DZ?
Yeah.
He told me no. Well, okay, so initially he told me, like, the whole reason why it was because he wanted to just not play the split. He wanted to come back after champs.
Yeah.
Or for champs, something like that. But then they started playing, and it started going well, and then they made a final offer, and it was like, okay, fuck it. Like, it's back. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely all sketchy.
I mean, no one will really know except for him, right?
For him.
In the team, but
It just sucks because now Arcane's in shambles trying to figure out a third so that they can clutch up and qualify these last few weeks to go to LAN and stuff, which is really rough because they haven't been doing ridiculously well the first 3 weeks, And so it's a lot of stress. And honestly, like, the whole project would be considered built for failure because, you don't have your solid team. You got to fucking play with a new guy, all the stress of all that shit too. And that's really rough and kind of unfair to them. In those regards too, because I know it's got to be a significant hit to the morale and the motivation.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I think moves like that have a ripple effect. Like, even again, talking from like an org perspective, if Monsoon came to us and said, "Hey, I'm retiring. I don't want to play anymore," and we let him go, and then he turned around and did that, like, that's like,
that'd be fucked.
Like, we'd have to change some internal policies.
It's like a very esports type phenomenon. Because if you go to the world of sports, you can retire, obviously, as an athlete or something, but however long your contract is, like, you're not getting paid for your contract, as far as I understand, unless there's a guaranteed money or something. But you're not paid like the game check or something. Totally. But you're also not allowed to just join another team because the team that signed you holds your rights.
100%.
Interesting.
So we just gone, like, this was just a thing in the NFL. For example, a coach retired, and he's now coming out of retirement. But the teams that wanted to sign him still needed to go to his original employee on which contract he retired and pay a buyout or, like, do all these kind of things because they still held his rights. You can't just retire out of a contract in the real sports world. I think in esports it's just different because there's a lot of things, and, like, I don't know Rambo. I don't know the situation. I just know, like, you go through the thing with the guard, and all of a sudden you were kind of like hung out, like you were just left out to dry. Like, from one day to another, you were just basically like, your org doesn't exist anymore, or like the org kind of still does exist, but no one works for that org anymore. So, like, that changes, and if you're already kind of like iffy about playing, if you're already kind of iffy about competing, if your heart is not completely in it, and your mind is just completely somewhere else, I can understand where you were like, oh yeah, I'm gonna just take a break. It's like for my own mental health reasons. It's for my own things. And I can understand then also how you were leaving you kind of like the financial uncertainty of you not having an org or something. To play with another org and have that. But obviously the Sentinels thing.
He got Sentinels.
Yeah,
like,
that's the thing.
That's a good org.
Yeah. When did he? I didn't quite keep up with it. When did he retire?
Like a week and a half ago.
So but then like to counter the argument of like, oh yeah, his teammates are now kind of left out and hung out to dry. They would have. That happened either way. Whether he retires or goes to another team, that happens either way. If he 100%. Makes a decision, I don't want to play, they're left with 2 anyways, right?
Yeah,
in the middle of the season.
I guess just the residual feeling of like betrayal.
Yeah, I get that part, but like the logistical parts don't change for his teammates because they always have to find another player.
100%.
I just think I think for me it's different. I think it's shitty. Like the hot take or whatever, I think it's shitty if you
it's not that hot.
If you claim that you're retiring, and especially because like if I remember right, his tweet was about like personal reasons, dealing with family stuff, like
comp,
that's serious, right? Like I take mental health seriously, I take my family seriously. Like if you have legitimate reasons to retire, by all means, and from an org perspective, like take care of your shit. Like that family comes first, right? But then to just turn around and knowing 2 days after he's playing on a second account with that team, I don't care if it's God's personal army who's inviting you to come play on his Apex team. Like,
well, if God came down and was like, "Hey, dog, I want you on the chariot 2 from my right,"
okay,
you'd fucking do it.
Okay, maybe a little bit too extreme of a metaphor, but like if it's the number 1 team, the world champions, and they're winning everything, I still think it's shitty to just turn around and secretly do that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was planned. I don't think like he initially left because he was going to.
Even if it's not planned,
I mean, for sure.
Send a text.
I agree.
Hey man, was gonna retire. Dark Zero hit me up. Like, just wanted you to know first.
I think that's like kind of the issue with a lot of these things because we're running into this. Like you had a Halo example. We are having now the Apex example. There are other examples of this industry just being. From the actors and the way it works, it's like no, it's not just that. It's also immature.
Yeah,
like there's a lot of people that are for whom this is kind of like the first real world experience.
Yeah,
totally.
Where they're having to deal with emotions and the needs and stuff of other people. Where they are not just it's them and their family, but they are actually like it's a career.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like and. It is a very funky and weird career that is very hard to describe for people outside of our little circle. Because, right, like, I don't know how your parents are or something, but normally in, like, if you're a sports athlete or something, like, your parents have, like, some concept of how that business should work. And, like, the team environment or everything. Like, because everyone kind of went through kind of the same thing with, like, team environment and everything. But often talking to parents and talking like giving advice to people in our industry, it's like, oh, he's just playing a game, like as if the other people don't really matter. And that's how we are ending up in these situations where you're kind of taking your teammates for granted. I'm not saying that Rambo did this like maliciously or anything, but that's kind of like the common thread of people not fully understanding the impact that their actions are necessarily having, or not having the thought process to think through it all.
I mean, it's not like they have to like physically witness this change.
Yeah, a lot of times
that's another thing. Like,
totally.
Like the conflict resolution, or like even having that conflict or that discussion is like a thing that not a whole lot of people are doing. Like, there's a lot of like backroom dealings of like, oh yeah, we're just gonna go separate ways. It just is what it is.
Now, I will say, though, back on Sentinels has, like, they've been ducking and diving and dipping into all sorts of people's DMs and all shit for, like, their team for the past year, because their team got relegated out of Pro League.
Yeah.
And so like the question of sustainability or commitment from the org to the team has been up in the air and questioned by the entire community because of how they've handled previously or how long they've been invested in the game and what the ROI looks like from EA partnerships and shit like that. And like they weren't doing too well. And I was talking, yeah. There's probably some stuff that I shouldn't say.
Okay.
So I won't.
I was about to say, you might want to stop yourself because I think I know where you're going with this.
You know, it's just like if you're not doing well and you're signed to a new org who has been questionable in the past, it's like, dude, are they going to be committed to us past the split?
Yeah.
You know, or am I just like out of a job in 2 weeks? You know, stuff like that. And like obviously none of this justifies how he did it, but
I still think, man, like a text
shitty.
message.
It's still should. It should have been like, hey, man, I'm thinking about retiring, but I also have this interesting prospect of playing with DZ.
Yeah.
And you know.
Or hey, I know I retired yesterday, and like I was planning on doing that.
Yeah.
But Dark Zero hit me up.
Exactly.
And I'm considering it because it's a good offer.
Yeah. And I know Archeon and Keon as well. They're extremely level-headed, kind, nice guys that want nothing but the best for everybody, like their team, you know? And, you know, Archeon says, like, obviously it's shitty, but, I mean, it's not to the point where he's fucking... You know,
I mean, even if they were like, no, fuck you, you're the worst person ever, at least you told them.
Exactly.
At least you're transparent. And then when all of this blows up, you can be like, look, I told them, like, I was intending on retiring. Yeah. I got this offer. I told them about the offer. They told me to go fuck myself. So I did on Dark Zero.
Yeah. for sure. 100%. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Yeah. And there is something to say about the, like, social etiquette of...
It might not be like gamers. A malicious thing.
Yeah, but it is perceived majoritarily. Yeah, that one. Yes.
By everyone.
by the majority.
By majority. Yeah. It is perceived as like malicious.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and again, like I think that can be avoided if he just has that talk with his teammates
100%.
or something.
It's just a simple conversation.
And like goes in with like as Ash has said, like I want to retire. I'm not mentally there. I'm not feeling this environment. I can't do this. And then you turn around next couple of days, you get hit up, or like even if the Dark Zero thing like started very innocuous, and you're just like two people that play, and their third was just not available for this scrim, and then suddenly you hit it off. Like it is fine. You can still like he obviously still likes Apex.
Yeah, that is kind of what happened too.
Exactly. Actually. Like, and then you still like you just send a follow-up text to your guys and say like, hey, I know we talked about retirement. I don't think I'm gonna retire, because I found this like I have my renewed passion now with Dark Zero or something. Yeah. Like, but that's all comes down to just communication. And I know Ash is talking a lot about like the organization side of it, but even then, like, I'm obviously a part of an organization, but like on a personal level, that's a lot. It's a lot worse to leave your team behind, not the organization.
Fuck the orgs, man.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say that, but like it's the org is just like a construct. But like other two people you've played with, you went to LAN with, you shared a booth with, you shared a toilet with, you know, however you guys go down on Apex.
Right.
Yeah, there it is. So like that's a lot harsher on that end, and I hope that there was some communication that we just don't know about.
Yeah, I mean we're speculating, obviously.
Yeah,
we're just going with like.
I think they've talked. You know, Rambo is like, God, dude, don't tell anybody because it has to come from me, and it's like, oh, okay, that's understandable. It's true.
Yeah,
but I mean, once again, doesn't justify anything.
Yeah,
it's all tricky. Emotions, feelings, nuances are tricky.
All right. Well, we're getting close on time, but we want to end our podcast with a fun game for you.
Oh, a fun game.
Yeah, a fun game.
Okay.
We have a series of Would You Rather questions to close out the show.
Oh, God. Okay. All right. How many?
I'm just gauging the response from our producer here.
Yeah, we'll gauge the response of the producer once I start asking these, because she doesn't know about them.
I was about to say, I don't think she knew about this segment. So,
yeah.
like, the Would You Rather.
This was a pivot today. You ready?
I'm as ready as I can be right
okay.
now.
And
Wait,
not just answer.
Majority.
Feel free to flesh out your
I'm
answers
ready
a little
now.
bit too. Like I want to hear logic behind some of these.
Do I
Okay.
get to answer too?
Yeah, it's an open discussion.
Awesome.
Open discussion.
All right. Would you rather have a head the size of a tennis ball or the size of a watermelon? And I'm talking like
Big ass.
like Hey Arnold watermelon
God
size
damn.
head. Yeah. Shout out to Hey
Definitely
Arnold. You might
watermelon.
be too young for Hey Arnold.
Definitely watermelon.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I mean, initially, I feel like the mass difference would definitely impact the intellectual capabilities.
Maybe.
Well,
Your-
for humans.
maybe your
maybe.
brain's
Not
just
for-
right
not
here.
for everyone.
Yeah. This might not be the case, but I mean, I mean, if
I
you,
know some people.
like,
It has no impact.
for sure. And then we'd have to get into some details for sure.
I
Like,
must
am
be
I gonna
smarter
be
because my brain is bigger.
you never, I don't know. Like, if you think I'm gonna be sitting there like the dude from fucking Beetlejuice, you got me fucked up. Like, you know, I mean, they're both perfectly fine. But
What about you? Tennis ball or
Isn't-
watermelon?
How big is an American watermelon? Because if I like look at going to a store, like a watermelon is not that much
They
bigger
vary.
than my
Yeah.
head.
I'm thinking
It's-
like one of the big old honka-donk watermelons.
like the big, like unripe
like
ones,
the big Bertha watermelons. Like I'm gonna feed my family of 8
like a pumpkin.
picnic
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of watermelon.
Yeah, probably the watermelon.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
I feel like you
I
get
think
less.
it's like more an aesthetic choice. I think like you can get more used to that because the proportions are often the other dimension.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
if you've
Yes.
ever seen a dude that has like that is like ripped or worked out, has like broad shoulders, but his head is just tiny, it looks way weirder
Yeah.
than someone that has small narrow shoulders and has a giant head.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Mhm.
I think I would go watermelon.
Yeah.
Though you would still be able to find hats tennis ball size. I don't think you're finding watermelon size hats.
I was going to say,
They're flex fit.
the only hat I truly care about is my adventure bonnet.
You fuck our complexity hat apparently.
Yeah.
Well, no. Well, we should make a complexity adventure bonnet.
Anyways,
Shut down.
question number 2.
No communication.
Damn.
Would you? We kind of touched on this earlier.
Okay.
Would you rather get a large face tattoo or have your belly button pierced?
Belly button pierced, easy. What?
And I'm
the
talking
fuck?
like dangly.
Yeah, fuck
belly,
yeah.
but
I'll
not a
get the
little
whole
stud.
thing. I'll get the whole thing. I'll get the crescent moon.
You rather do that
And
over a
stuff.
face? You have tattoos.
Are you kidding me? A face tattoo or a belly button piercing?
Yeah. That's
Bro,
an easy one.
I'd fucking be dancing for my partner in private all the time, dog. Be fucking.
You wouldn't do that with a face tattoo?
He's no, dude. Fuck that. I mean, of what though? You know, like
Anything you want. It's just got to be like semi-large. Like I'm not talking like teardrop or some gangster shit. I'm talking like
semi-large,
Samoan.
like palm size,
Yeah.
like Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably going with my belly button.
It could be your name.
pierced.
You could go Post Malone, like just
Dude, I'd get
never,
it. I'd get it
never
pierced
tired or
twice.
whatever.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I mean, I do like tattoos, but my whole thing is not face or hands yet.
I feel you.
Mm-hmm.
You did say all over earlier though.
Yeah, neck down,
Okay.
neck down.
Does that not
even
include the
balls?
hands?
I mean, I'm down to cap out my hands at the end.
I draw the line at fingers. I think like
Your
I've never
fingers?
seen a finger tattoo that I really liked.
Not even the little
dope
mustache?
ones. There's some dope ones.
I like the face
Fucking guy,
and
man.
like my fingers is like where I'm not going. Like I can get sleeves until like here, but
Yeah.
not the hands.
Out
or
of
something.
context, that statement.
I've seen some crazy cool fucking hand tats, and I've seen some warriors that'll sit there for 8 hours
Oh,
straight
yeah.
face.
I
It's like,
ate like
shit.
that. Having one tattoo done, I just don't think I can do it on my fingers.
Yeah.
And I also think like, no offense, there's like a, it just looks weird to me.
You have to be in a certain career path in order to like have hand tattoos.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I feel like you can't pull up to an important business meeting with hand tattoos yet.
I feel like that stigma is slowly
It's-
being.
it's
yeah.
I think it
changing.
depends on where the hand tattoo is, because if you have like a moon in here or like any sort of like small little thing.
No, I'm talking
I think it's
like-
like the fingers is like the when you have like the letters on your fingers and you do
Yeah.
like this. Like that's a lot more
Yeah.
stigmatized than just having like little.
That's what I
symbols
was
on
thinking
your-
about was
For sure.
like
Just
oh yeah,
open your hand,
I
it's
rep the
just a
305 or something like that. Like,
It's my butthole. that would be genius.
all right. Speaking of buttholes, would you rather have diarrhea every match day or every time you travel?
Damn. I've had diarrhea on match days.
We all have.
Yeah. Probably
I don't have
travel.
match days, so
What'd you say?
I don't have match days, so this is
Okay.
easy.
Yeah, this is just for me.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not getting like Can I answer first? 'Cause
Oh yeah.
There's nothing worse than being on an airplane and having like the middle seat or the side seat and having like some sort of stomach bug where you have to get up repeatedly.
Well, there's no wood
because then
around.
you were just like literally advertise your entire shit literally to the plane.
Yeah.
Like you were just getting out the entire time. Like it's just and you annoy the other two people. There's always like some people that are always awake no matter what. They are always staring at people running past them and they're going to judge you.
Yeah.
And you're just like going there and
you
like
you're about to put in work.
30 minutes, every 30 minutes you just have to. So
yeah.
Like you step into that bathroom like I'm about to cause damage.
Dude, this plane's going down, dude. No, but I agree 100%. You know, I'm well acquainted with the idea of shit farting your pants everywhere, and that's why the term sniff check has become well known in the Apex community.
Mon, can't we do a throwback to a diarrhea-related story of you trying to prank me?
Oh my God.
Do you still remember this?
It was so good, dude.
I hated you so much for this.
Yeah, it was one of the it was really early on, right? Reptar and I were at the Tri-Tip Grill downstairs. It's no longer a Tri-Tip Grill. But I was like, dude, Rep, I'm going to message Sören something. He's like, what are you going to message? He's like, dude, I'm just going to say, I shit myself. I'm crying in the Tri-Tip bathroom. Bring me clothes. And and I did. And I was like, Sören, please, just don't ask questions. I'm crying. I shit myself everywhere. It's bad in the Tri-Tip bathroom. And his first response was like, sorry? What do you need pants? And I was just like, yeah, dude, I need fucking pants. But then, like, I was like, nah, I actually didn't.
No, I followed up a bunch of times. I like try to work out the logistics of how I get his pants, because he was living in the same apartment complex, but I obviously didn't have a key.
Yeah.
And Rep was obviously with him.
Yep.
So like I was trying to figure this out, and like I was just like losing my mind trying to figure out how I'm getting him out of this
shitty
situation. And he's like 10 minutes later was like, yeah, no, that was just a joke. I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Bro, immediately I was like, dude, Sören's a real one.
The boy who cried
He didn't
poop.
laugh. He didn't fucking judge. He was like, I got you some pants, dog. Don't. So that's how you know, dude. Sören's got your back.
That's such a dumb thing.
It was so. I laughed the entire day.
If you like know like how we were building up like a relationship with players, and you feel more comfortable the longer they stay on, of how we're interacting with them. And for some it's like super early where we joke around. Like for Amy, by the way, it just took like 3 seconds of us doing dumbass jokes in the DMs. And for Mon, that was kind of like the turning point, like 6 months in or something. He was just hired.
That was the icebreaker.
Yeah, he was just hired. He just moved here.
Oh, God.
Reptar was on the team for a while. I think Miracle was still on the team.
Yep.
And then you were just moving here.
I remember that.
All right.
Good times.
Next one.
Yes. Match events.
Match events?
Not travel.
Okay. Fair enough.
What was your answer?
Mine?
Yeah.
Because
this one is kind of like the most toss-up that we had yet.
I think match, because I knock on wood have never used an airplane toilet for that reason.
Yeah. Oh, thank God. Me too.
Like you never.
Airports, I don't care. I get super self-conscious about it, and so like in airports, I'm like, I'm never gonna see any of these people again. I don't care if they recognize my shoes and they're like, oh, that's the dude who's like tearing up that stall. Like I don't care, because I'm never gonna see any of you fuckers again.
Yeah.
But like on an airplane, like I gotta go back to my seat, like kind of like you were saying, like they know.
They fucking know.
They know. They know what I did, and they're like, oh, that dude was in the airplane bathroom for 30 minutes. Like,
I'm not going to that one.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
and
if
you're a choice,
out the window and stick my ass up there. No.
All right.
Next.
So
one.
events. I've played online tournaments from the toilet before.
Controller things, man.
Well, no, it was
controller things.
Like, so in my parents' house, like my gaming setup was in this bedroom, and there was a door into the bathroom.
Yeah.
And so I would lock the door to the hall from the bedroom and the bathroom, and turn the TV so I could see it from the toilet. And then I would drag this little like IKEA nightstand thing I had on wheels over, and set my laptop on it and plug my Astros into it so that they had power.
Yeah.
And then, like, I would just sit on the toilet.
Dude.
And I could report the GB match score if I didn't finish in time.
That's hilarious. Could you imagine having like the full mouse and keyboard mouse pad set up over there, dude? You know, just fucking, yeah, dude. I mean, that's genius.
Speaking of mouse and keyboard, would you rather play on keyboard and trackpad or an N64 controller in Apex?
In Apex? Bro, that's a no-brainer. N64 for sure. You still get aim assist.
You don't have 2 thumbsticks though. You'd be on D-pad and 1 thumbstick.
For moving on the D-pad.
Are you moving with the yellow buttons?
Yeah, you'd have to, because there's only 1 thumbstick on the N64 controller.
Yeah, and that would just be the aim, right?
Yeah. You would have to use the D-pad for movement.
You're controlling it like an F1 car or something. Like your trigger button is the go forward, and the other one is the reverse.
That'd be insane.
Plus, your trigger's in a weird spot.
I actually don't know, because I've played
Z?
trackpad for other games before, and it was miserable, but mainly because of the performance of the actual laptop.
I'd probably use trackpad.
So if it was like 240 hertz, clean, crisp, you know?
No, you're on like a gaming desktop. You just have a trackpad and a keyboard.
And I had like this whole thing to where I could fucking cast spells and shit, and then I'd do it. I'd probably do the trackpad.
You scope in by like how you do it on a phone,
Just
like you zooming in.
Yeah, for sure.
What would you do?
The controller. It's not. I'm horrible aim with controllers, and I never play with controller. I never play. But you, I think, know. I travel with a laptop, and I always travel with a mouse because I cannot. My brain doesn't function with this trackpad. It just doesn't work.
That's fair.
So like, either way, I'm gonna be shit at the video game. But I'm at least gonna have like one of the clunkiest controllers that was ever created in my hand and trying to make it work that way.
Dude, Wig is done unranked to Pred on N64.
I remember that. Yeah. So we have controller, or keyboard and trackpad. Would you rather give up your sense of taste or your ability to hear?
It's an easy one for you, I think.
I don't think so, because hearing, like that's you're not playing Fortnite where it's showing you sounds on your screen. You got to be able to hear in Apex.
Yeah.
But you're a chef and you
really
need to be
easy
able to
for me.
taste.
Oh, that would be fucked.
I'm going deaf. No, I love music actually.
I'm currently, and this is like a little bit of a personal story, I'm dealing with like hear loss in one of my ear from like nerve damage and stuff, and it's like the weirdest thing in the world, because if I lay in bed and listen to whatever and I lay on this ear, I'm like virtually deaf right now.
Holy shit.
So I'm giving up taste in a heartbeat because I also don't care that much about food.
That's what you say.
As Mon knows,
No.
having gone to
to
a sushi store with me, and I'm just ordering the plain cucumber sushi.
That's more than enough. You like sushi.
I don't know, man. I just feel like
Just
eating
plain
everything
rice.
based off texture would be.
So, I got COVID
But
recently.
I also eat tofu, so like there's no texture or taste.
That's false. Tofu's slightly nutty, and the texture is very.
All right,
You're
Head Chef Monsoon, about your COVID.
Yeah, I got it from London, and I was like, one of the things I was most scared about was losing my taste, but then I made myself feel better by making up this plan about how I was just gonna eat the most random, rank, disgusting shit all the time.
Like those Swedish canned fish things.
Bro,
They are not that bad,
okay.
guys.
Okay.
These
He
are
doesn't-
European
he doesn't
delicacies. Like, stop.
I was at a land.
Stop
in
making fun of my
Arkansas
culture.
for the Rewired, right? And some dude from I can't remember where, but he was from EU. He was like, "Hey, try this. It's a little candy." And I ate it, and it
Oh, was it licorice?
no, it was fucking like pure fucking salt.
Oh, that's basically
Gross.
It was like pure salt and shit, and I was like, "Oh my god!" It was crazy. It was fucking crazy.
my favorite thing about like just Europeans and putting like weird candy on stuff is I remember vividly. I was like 6 or 7 years old, and we went to Denmark, which we always gone, and there's like soft ice cream,
Yeah.
like with the cones that they put like in front of you,
Of
they
course.
twirl it, and you always get like a topping. And normally, you know, if you're a sane human being, you see like a brownish colored thing, you assume it's chocolate, right?
Yeah.
100%.
So my dad did that, and they poured it all on, and he takes his first bite and just like throws his cone basically to the ground out of shock, because it was just like little pieces of licorice
Ugh.
that they put on the ice cream. And I have no idea
sounds nasty.
Black
who
licorice?
was sick. Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
it was just like salty and like whatever.
That
was
just sounds like a prank.
it was just really like
It's weird.
whoever had that idea. Yeah, it's in line
You're
with
an
like
asshole.
having chili and chocolate or something.
It's crazy. I mean, the profiles from different cultures is just insane.
there you go.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy. But yeah, so I was going to just eat a bunch of the most grossest shit, like a bunch of raw meat, testicles, livers, fucking everything. I was just gonna fucking
Some mountain oysters.
I love
I know,
mountain
West
oysters.
Virginia, baby.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And just really force myself to like understand texturally what it means, you know.
Yeah. So are you going taste or hearing?
I'm going hearing, or I'm
You're
going
losing
deaf.
hearing?
Yeah, I'm losing hearing.
Okay.
I just can't.
I
feel you.
Bro. You can sign in my hand if you want, or just sign to me. You don't have to do it in my hand.
I was about to say, he doesn't need to touch you. You're
All right,
having all the other senses.
We got 2 more. Would you? Apex doesn't work out. Esports doesn't work out. Would you? You have to make a major life change.
Okay.
Okay. Would you rather live the life of a monk,
I've thought about this.
or would
actually.
you rather be an exotic dancer?
Monk for sure. I've definitely there's been times where I'm like, dude, I fucking hate everything and myself. What if I just transformed into something completely different for like 3 months? And they do have monasteries that are free that you can just go to and like live like a monk for a while. So I'd probably do that. I mean, exotic dancing is fun too, but
I was about to say, would the answer change based on your belly button?
If you got the piercing,
Yeah, the belly button piercing, would that sway you towards
I feel like they
exotic
don't
dancer?
let you in the monastery anymore once you got that piercing.
that's true. But if that's the case, I'm fucked because I got tattoos.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
Depends on the monastery.
I'm assuming you would be a monk.
Yeah.
Well, you can still dance exotically.
No, we're talking strippers.
So would you rather be a stripper or a monk?
Yeah, basically.
A monk.
I was being polite, calling it exotic dancing.
I mean, we
I
fuck
was
with
being
strippers.
politically correct.
Strippers are dope.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, but I don't know.
I just there's just like my logical brain, just like if I'm a monk, I'm in a monastery and I'm getting like supplied, like you are working, but you're working for your food, you're working for all that kind of
The
stuff.
community.
Right? If I was an exotic dancer or stripper, I would starve to death because there's no way I'm making a living.
Dude,
But
look
the
at
other
you.
thing
You're
I'm doing,
bro, you'd make so much money. You're
I don't
fucking
think so.
Cute, bro.
I just think I would be more at peace being a monk, obviously.
Well, I mean, it's
that's
just,
the point.
yeah,
That's the
obviously.
point of it.
That's the whole like interest
That's
for
what I need.
me is just the symbiotic relationship with like who you are as a person and your land and the spirituality
Yeah.
and shit like
Plus,
that.
monks are badasses.
Yeah, they are.
Like they're like low key badasses.
They're
Nobody talks
high-key.
about how badass they are, but they're
just.
badass.
I mean, they're not using their power to fuck people up. They're using
Yeah.
their power to love each other and learn more.
yeah.
I like
All right,
Alright,
last one, and this one is not inappropriate, but it is difficult.
Okay.
Would you rather always have the feeling you're about to sneeze, or always have the feeling of an itch that you can't scratch?
Oh my god, I gotta itch my head after that one.
That's like when you think about your tongue in your mouth, and then you start actually feeling your tongue in your mouth, and then you start moving it around. Like, well, I mean, you move it around anyways. All right, podcast is over. We're now going after dark.
You need a bit.
I don't know. I feel like the itch is definitely mental. Like you could train. Like, have you ever had poison ivy or poison oak before?
No, I'm not allergic to poison ivy.
That would be my thinking as well.
Yeah.
Because if you're ever like, it's an itch that is somewhere you cannot physically scratch it, or it doesn't matter if you scratch it.
It doesn't matter if you scratch it.
You just
So, like-
always feel it.
But
So
like it, let's just say like it moves around. So
So we're
it's not.
meth heads.
Yes.
I'm not familiar with the symptoms, but I'm
Ah.
gonna take your word for it.
Ah, great. Yes. Okay.
For me, it would be the itch,
Yeah.
because if you've ever like broken any part of your body or something, and you have like a cast or something,
Yeah.
after a certain while, like if you broke your foot, I've done it a bunch of times, and
Yeah.
you have like a cast for 3 months or something, like that shit is A, gross, and B, there is an itch in there.
Yeah.
And you like literally physically cannot touch it.
Dude, chopsticks.
But see, like I feel like even when my leg was broken, I feel like I remember like moving like enough in the cast
Oh yeah.
to like be able to, you know,
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I'm like a dog.
100%.
See, I don't.
But yeah, typically you're not supposed to.
But the sneeze
But
is also mental.
No, but if there is like I think just from you sneezing and you having an itch, the sensation is like more like I need to stop everything I'm doing because
Yeah.
I'm gonna sneeze. Like you are not gonna feel safe driving a car because you're always feeling like
Continue.
you're always gonna feel like it. The one feeling is uneasy, the other one is just like you're feeling unsafe.
Yeah.
Because you know how a sneeze works. You sneeze and you have to close your eyes, and there's like a split second where you have no control over anything.
That's
Yeah.
true.
So having that feeling constantly, I think, is a lot worse than like the inconvenience of something always being like itchy.
Yeah, I can agree. I mean, every time you get poison ivy, it gets worse and worse. And I've had it to the point where every time I got to go to the hospital to get steroids and antibiotics and shit like that.
Damn.
And, yeah, you kind of just tune it out sometimes. But sneezing, you the entire
Damn,
time.
we lost our close-up camera while you're making those faces.
It's what we learn as kids. Like, I don't think it's poison ivy. It's like nettles or something.
Mm-hmm. Stinging.
Where you like run through a field and there's like a bunch of things that they are causing a reaction. And like where I'm from, they're very common. And what we were taught as a kid is like, don't touch it. It's gonna go away. Like you're literally not scratching. If you're scratching it, you're like, it's gonna be a 10-minute or 20-minute itch if you're not touching it. If you're touching it, it's going to be like an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, because you're constantly like...
Or days.
Yeah. So, like, I think that...
Yeah, fuck you, Ashes. That was easy.
Yeah. Dumbass question.
All right, like...
We're gonna have a new host for the next episode. Don't worry, guys.
I gave him one segment of this podcast to plan. You know what one segment he didn't plan?
What?
The game.
The game?
Yeah,
what game?
Would You Rather or tier list or whatever.
So just like taking you guys behind the curtain and like you as well. Like the idea for this podcast was we're having like basically segments. We're talking about complexity stuff. We're talking about general esports stuff. We're talking about whatever the guest, like the field of expertise the guest has.
Yeah.
And then we're ending it with...
Break my shit?
With breaking a camera, apparently. We're ending it with like a fun kind of game show segment.
Yeah.
And that is just like either...
Just a little game show.
Yeah, exactly. It's like either Would You Rather or it's like some more elaborate thing of like...
clickbaity things.
Tier list. Yeah, exactly. Like something that is going to be a very good thumbnail thing.
I can't believe Monsoon answered it this way.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
you won't believe this.
You won't believe
this Monsoon diarrhea story.
Monsoon pooped himself where?
Dude, anybody who knows me that it is knows that it's a common occurrence. So
okay,
for sure.
But yeah, like tier lists or like Ashes one week or however whatever the cadence of this is.
Yeah.
Like Ashes has like a top 20 esports organizations, and then we're doing this again in like 3 months, and it's me doing it, and all of a sudden 2 of them don't exist anymore, or like something like this, right? It's like
sure,
a little bit of dark humor.
I mean, I think it's dope. It's been fun so far being on.
It's been fun having you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're gonna wrap it up here, so. All right. I'm going to pause it right there. If you guys want to check out the rest of episode 1 of Keeping It Simple with Complexity, make sure you check out whatever podcast audio network you use. It'll be uploaded there. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you all in the next episode of Keeping It Simple.